Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my Dandot Pranams. I am Ananda Vrindavan Das, your servant, and I am disciple of His Holiness Radha Govinda Das Goswami Guru Maharaj Ji, who is disciple of ISKCON Sansthapak Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So, and I welcome you to my YouTube channel, Maya Arpita Mano Buddhi. And in this today's short video message, I will summarize each chapter of Bhagavad Gita on the occasion of Bhagavad Gita Jayanti, and I will just read out what Prabhupada has written in the beginning of the contents. Bhagavad Gita, this is Bhagavad Gita as it is, Bhagavad Gita Yatharup as it is, and Prabhupada has given summary by himself for each chapter. So I'll just read out that, and I will also read the summary given by Acharya Baladev Vidyabhushan for some of the chapters. So, chapter 1, the title of the chapter is Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. And the summary given by Prabhupada is that as the opposing armies stand posted for battle, Arjuna, the mighty warrior, sees his intimate relatives, teachers and friends in both armies ready to fight and sacrifice their lives. Overcome by grief and pity, Arjuna fails in strength. His mind becomes bewildered and he gives up his determination to fight. So this is the summary of first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 2, the name of the chapter is Contents of the Gita Summarized. So the Prabhupada writes its summary as Arjuna submits to Lord Krishna as his disciple, and Krishna begins his teachings to Arjuna by explaining the fundamental distinction between the temporary material body and the eternal spiritual soul. The Lord explains the process of transmigration, the nature of selfless service to the Supreme, and the characteristics of a self-realized person. So this is a very important chapter, as Prabhupada says that the title of the chapter is Contents of Gita Summarized. So this is the chapter where Lord speaks about the difference between the body and soul. The very important slokas about this knowledge come into chapter 2 spoken by Lord Krishna himself. Like the first knowledge given by Krishna in chapter 2 is that Dehino is the first Bhagavan Vacha. Krishna starts speaking formally from chapter 2 in Bhagavad Gita. So the first Bhagavan Vacha comes in chapter 2. So the first knowledge given by Krishna in chapter 2, sloka 13 is that the Dehino yasmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuyati. That means Deh and Dehi, this material body and the conscious eternal Jivatma, they are two different things. Krishna clarifies that. And as long as the conscious Jivatma is attached to the body, it has to transmigrate from one body to another body. And Krishna also says that the characteristics of the Jivatma, that na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavitava na bhuya ajo nitya shashvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. That this Jivatma, this soul is eternal. It has never taken birth. It never dies, and it does not die when the body is killed. So that's the Jivatma, eternal Jivatma. It never dies. And Lord also says that Nayanam chindanti shastrani nayanam dahati pavakah na chayanam klediyanti apuna shushyati marutah. That's another quality of Jivatma, that Jivatma is never killed by any equipment, any sword or any bullet, or it cannot be burnt, it cannot be drowned, it cannot be done anything. Nothing can happen to the soul. So soul is eternal. And Krishna again says, Vasamse jirnani yatha vihaya namani grahnati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani annani sanyati nayagni dehi, in chapter 2, that as we change our clothes when the clothes get old. We take new clothes and wear new clothes. The same way, the soul, when the body is old and torn out, it takes another body. So these are the important slokas and very conceptual and Siddhantic slokas covered by Krishna in chapter 2. Then in chapter 3, the name of the chapter 3 is Karma Yoga. Prabhupada gives the summary as: everyone must engage in some sort of activity in this material world, but actions can either bind one to this world or liberate one from it. By acting for the pleasure of the Supreme without selfish motives, one can be liberated from the law of karma, action and reaction, and attain transcendental knowledge of the self and the Supreme. So that's the summary and conclusion of chapter 3. Then chapter 4, transcendental knowledge. Then Prabhupada writes the summary as: transcendental knowledge, the spiritual knowledge of the soul, of the God, and of their relationship, is both purifying and liberating. Such knowledge is the fruit of selfless devotion action, Karma Yoga. The Lord explains the remote history of the Gita, the purpose of the significance of his periodic descents to the material world, and the necessity of approaching a guru, a realized teacher. So this chapter 4 is very important chapter called transcendental knowledge, and very important slokas has been spoken by Lord Krishna in this chapter. So he says that he first spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Vivaswan, the sun god, and then sun god said it to his son Manu, then Ikshvaku, like that. And with the effect of time, somehow this knowledge got lost. So the same knowledge is being delivered by Krishna himself to Arjuna, which he has delivered to Lord Vivaswan at the beginning of the creation. So this is the history of Gita. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4. And chapter 4, Krishna also says about how when he descends in this material world from his eternal abode. He says that Yada, you might have heard this at the time of Mahabharata, a very famous serial. So these two slokas became very popular, that Yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma samstapnarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So these two famous shlokas are from chapter 4. And Krishna also says that how when he descends in this material world, how he descends. That's, he says when he descends and how he descends. He says that ajopisan abhyatma bhutanam ishwaropisan prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavami atma mayaya. So Krishna descends he's in his original form, in his under his original spiritual potency, Satchidanand Vigraha. He does not take up a material body like us, that made of he is not forced to take, neither he takes nor he is forced to take a material body like us. He comes down in his original spiritual body. So that's what Krishna says about how he comes down in this material world. And one very famous sloka another, that janma karma cha me divyam evam yoveti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma nayati mameti swarjuna. That's also continued in chapter 4. So chapter 4 has many important shloka, and whom to ask our Athato Brahma Jigyasa, our higher inquiries, to whom Krishna also says that in chapter 4 that that's very famous shloka. Upadekshyanti te jnanam jnanastate tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. So we should ask the these spiritual inquiries by surrendering to a spiritual master who is truly enlightened in the science of self-realization, who has fully realized Krishna. We should inquire from him. So then chapter 5, the name of chapter 5 is Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. The summary of this given by Srila Prabhupada is that outwardly performing all actions but inwardly renouncing their fruits, the wise man, purified by the fire of transcendental knowledge, attains peace, detachment, forbearance, spiritual vision and bliss. So that's the summary of chapter 5. And chapter 5, the most famous sloka is Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Rakshati. So chapter 6 is the Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. A mechanical meditative practice controls the mind and senses and focuses concentration on the Paramatma, the super soul, the form of the Lord situated in the heart. This practice culminates in Samadhi, full consciousness of the Supreme. So that is the summary of chapter 6. And from chapter 7, Bhakti Yoga starts. So at the end of chapter 6, Krishna gives a hint of the supremacy of the Bhakti Yogis. He says that Yogi Nam api sarvesam matgate nantaratmana sraddhavan bhastejumam samayukt tamo matah. At the end of chapter 6, sloka 47, Krishna says this, that though he is speaking about Ashtanga Yogis, but he says that his Bhakti Yogis are the supreme at the end of chapter 6. So chapter 7, knowledge of the Absolute. This is a very important chapter. The summary given by Srila Prabhupada is that Lord Krishna is the supreme truth, the supreme cause and sustaining force of everything, both material and spiritual. Advanced souls surrender unto him in devotion, whereas impious souls divert their minds to other objects of worship. So the chapter 7, here Krishna speaks about himself. He starts speaking about himself in Bhagavad Gita from chapter 7. He says that Bhumira punalvayu khammuna buddhirevacha ahamkarityame bhinna prakriti ashtadha, that all earth, water, fire, air, ether, everything is my external potency. And he says that Jiva is my Parashakti. That he says that the external potency Aparashakti, Bhumirapo, earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence and false ego. These are 8 my Aparashaktis. And Jiva Tattva, Jiva, Chetan, conscious Jiva is my Parashakti. He says that. And again he says that Mattah Parataram Nanyat Kinchi Dasti Dhananjaya Mai Sarvamidam Prottam Sutre Mani Ganaiva. Chapter 7, Sloka 7, very important Shloka. Krishna says that, hey Arjuna, I am the highest supreme truth. There is nothing beyond me. I am the highest supreme truth and everything depends upon me actually. And very important Shloka. And he also says that people who are bewildered by the material desires, who are less intelligent, they surrender to the demigods and they ask for their material desires from them. And Krishna says that I fix their, because I am situated in everyone's heart, I am situated in the heart of the Jiva and demigods, everyone. So I fix their desire I fix their devotion in that demigod, and I grant his desires, material desires, through that demigod. It is given by me. So he says that the worship of the demigods is also my worship, but it is avidhi purvaka. He does not recommend that actually. Krishna wants unalloyed devotional service for himself actually. So chapter 8, the title of the chapter is Attaining the Supreme. By remembering Lord Krishna in devotion throughout one's life, and especially at the time of death, one can attain to his supreme abode beyond the material world. So that's very important shloka, chapter 8. Krishna says that in one of the slokas, I think chapter 8, sloka 5, that Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samsaya. The one who gives up his body at the time of death, fully remembering me only, he comes back to me without any doubt. And then he warns that if you are not remembering me, then what will happen? He says that yam yam vapi smaran bhavan tyajati kalevaram tam tam evayati kontya sada tad bhava bhavita. The one who gives up his body in whatever is remembrance, whatever is bhavana, he gets to that. So then again he cautions us that tasmat sarvesu kalesu mam manusmara yudhya cha maya arpito manu buddhir mam evashyasya samsaya. You continuously remember me, you do your day-to-day work, but continuously remember me and surrender your mind and intelligence to me, to thinking of me only, and thus you will come back to me without any doubt. And at the end of chapter 8, Krishna says very importantly that my devotee surpasses all the gains obtained from Vedas, Dan, charity and all these kind of things. My devotee surpasses all those things. What the sloka? वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपःसु चैव दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रदिष्टम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परमस्थानम् उपैति चाद्यम्. Vedesu yagyesu tapasu chaiva daneshu. So whatever is obtained by Vedas, study of the Vedas, the charity, austerity, and this Vedesu yagyesu and sacrifices. Whatever is obtained by the study of the Vedas, sacrifice, charity, and austerities is surpassed by my devotee. And he comes back to me, he gets the highest place, the Param Siddhi, Paramasthanam, Param Siddhi, which is not obtained by others. So, Krishna tells about the unique position of his dear devotees actually. So, chapter 9 is very important. Chapter 9 is the most confidential. Krishna started speaking about himself from chapter 7. Now he's taking, in chapter 9, he's saying more confidential things about him. So, the chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. Lord Krishna is the supreme Godhead. Lord Krishna is the supreme Godhead, and the summary of chapter 9 as by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna is the supreme Godhead and the supreme object of worship. The soul is eternally related to him throughout transcendental devotional service, bhakti. The soul is eternally related to him through transcendental devotional service, bhakti. By reviving one's pure devotion, one returns to Krishna in the spiritual realm. So that's the chapter 9. The chapter 9, there are many important shlokas actually. If we start discussing or speaking, then it will be very long actually. So Krishna says the unique position of his devotees in chapter 9, shloka 29, that Samoham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshu asti na priyah je bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai tetesu chapyaham. Ki I am equal to all. I don't hate anyone or I don't love anyone, but especially I don't hate or anyone or I don't love anyone especially, but who is devotee to me? But for my devotees, I live in their heart and they live in my heart. Krishna says the unique position of his devotees. And Krishna says that whoever, even the most sinful person is engaged in my loving devotional service, will be purified very soon and will become Mahatma Sadhu and will come back to me. So the devotional service to Krishna is the Swarupa of Jiva, is not bound by anyone's material position. Anyone can engage himself in Krishna's loving devotional service, irrespective of his material position. He may be a sinner, he may be a whatever he may be, a murderist, a rapist, whatever. If he starts engaging himself in the pure loving devotional service of Krishna, so he will purify very soon and he will go back to Krishna immediately. So that's what Krishna says. And Krishna gives his final instruction, which we'll repeat again in chapter 18, that Man mana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishyasa yuktva eva matmana matparayana. That's last sloka of chapter 9, 34. That think of me from your mind and heart and be my devotee, render the loving devotional service unto me and offer your obeisances unto me, so you will come back to me without any doubt. Thus, being connected with me every time, always, you will come back to me. So that's chapter 9. Chapter 9, Baldev Vidyabhushan says that Ananya Bhakti Yoga, in this chapter, Bhakti, like the Ganga, not considering who is suitable or unsuitable and destroying all sins by its very touch, is alone considered to be the king of all secrets. So Bhakti Yoga, the Ananya Bhakti Yoga, is the unalloyed devotional service, is the king of all Bhakti Yoga. So that's what chapter 9. Chapter 10, the opulence of the Absolute. All wondrous phenomena showing power, beauty, grandeur, or sublimity, either in the material world or in the spiritual, are but partial manifestation of Krishna's divine energy and opulence. As the supreme cause of all causes and the support and essence of everything, Krishna is the supreme object of worship for all beings. So that's the essence of chapter 10. And what Baldev Vidyabhushan says about chapter 10 summary, he says that by Krishna's energy alone, the universe is maintained and by a small particle of his energy, the sun derives its intense heat, and all other objects possess their powers. This Krishna is worshipped in the 10th chapter. So that's very nice, the same thing. Chapter 10, chapter 11 is the universal form. Lord Krishna, the summary given by Srila Prabhupada is like, Lord Krishna grants Arjuna divine vision and reveals his spectacular unlimited form as the cosmic universe. Thus, he conclusively establishes his divinity. Krishna explains that his own all-beautiful human-like form is the original form of Godhead. One can perceive this form only by pure devotional service. Let's see what Baladev Vidyabhushan summarizes. Baladev Vidyabhushan says that the 11th chapter shows that Krishna is the complete form of God because he is the source of all avatars, and he is thus the cause of the victory of his devotees, the sons of Pandu, and the battlefield in Bharata. So that's the summary of chapter 11 given by Srila Prabhupada and Acharya Baladev Vidyabhushan. So chapter 10 is very important. Chapter 11 is very important. In chapter 10, what Arjuna said in chapter 10, we know that he knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because when Krishna says Mattah Parat, in chapter 7, when Krishna says Mattah Paratram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya Mai Sarvan Vedam Prottam Sutre Mani Gana Iva, when Krishna said in chapter 10 that Aham Sarvasya Prabho Mattah Sarvam Pravartati Iti Mattva Bhajante Mam Buddha Bhava Samanivitah, ki I am the highest truth, I am the supreme, and everything has emanated from me. If all spiritual and material universes has come out from me, I am maintaining, controlling everything. Okay, one who knows this, that intelligent person surrenders to me in loving devotion. So after knowing this, Arjuna already said that Parabrahma in chapter 10, that Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devamajam Vihum Ahu Swam Risyah Sarve Devarsir Naradas Tathasito Devala Vyasa Swayam Cha Bravisi Me, ki you are the supreme eternal person, cause of all causes. You are you are present everywhere, omnipotent, omnipresent. You are the highest, greatest. So, and all the great sages say this, like Asita Deval Vyas, and you yourself are saying this again, the same thing. And he says that Sarvamita Dharitam Manne Anumam Vadsi Keshava Nahite Bhagavan Vyakti Vidur Devana Danava, ki hey Krishna, whatever you said, I know that as truth, and I accept that as truth. Your personality is not conceivable by even the demigods or the Daityas. So, in chapter 10, Arjuna said all these things. So, he knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead right from the beginning. But to establish his supremacy, he asked to reveal his universal form. So, that's why Krishna revealed his universal form, and that's what Prabhupada writes, that Lord Krishna grants Arjuna divine vision and reveals his spectacular unlimited form as the cosmic universe. Thus he conclusively establishes his divinity. So that's very important, chapter 11. Chapter 12 is devotional service. So Prabhupada summarizes chapter 12 as Bhakti Yoga, pure devotional service to Lord Krishna, is the highest and most expedient means for attaining pure love for Krishna, which is the highest end of a spiritual existence. Thus, those who follow this supreme path develop divine qualities. So that's what the summary of chapter 12. And Acharya Baladev Vidyabhushan writes that Krishna is controlled by persons devoted to him alone, and by the persons devoted solely to the process of bhakti dedicated to him. The most beautiful Krishna is conquered completely by love. This is explained in the 12th chapter. So yeah, that's what it is said in 12th chapter. And in 12th chapter, Krishna again confirms. He said in 647, chapter 6, sloka 47, that what he said, that yogi nama pi sarvesam madgate nantaratmana Saradhavan Vastejuvam Samayukta Tamumata. The same thing Krishna again confirms in chapter 12, sloka 2, that Mayavesha Manojimam नित्य युक्त उपासते श्रद्धया पर्योपितास्ते में समय युक्त तमो मतः, कि one who is attached and dedicated to my personal form and my name, fame and glories, my Swarupa, he is the highest, he is the Sarvoch, he is the Sarvottam, super excellent, highest among all the yogis. So Bhakti Yogi is reconfirmed by Krishna as the highest yogi in chapter 12 again. Chapter 13, the yoga of the Supreme Person. The Prabhupada summarizes chapter 13 as the ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to detach oneself from the entanglement of the material world and to understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who understands Krishna's supreme identity surrenders unto him and engages in his devotional service. So that's let me first read chapter 13. I read chapter 15. Chapter 13 is nature, the enjoyer and the consciousness. The summary of chapter 13 is that one who understands the difference between the body, the soul and the super soul, beyond them both attains liberation from the material world. One who understands the difference between the body, the soul and the super soul, beyond them both attains liberation from the material world. And how Baladev Buddhabhushan summarizes that both the Jiva and the Lord are situated in the body. The Jiva joined to the qualities of the body is bound up, but is liberated by understanding the Lord. This is the knowledge of the 13th chapter. So as long as we are attached to our material body, we are bound to this material world. But when we understand the Lord, Supreme Lord, then we are liberated. That's the essence of chapter 13. Chapter 14, name of chapter 14 is the three modes of material nature. Prabhupada summarizes it. All embodied souls are under the control of the three modes or qualities of material nature: goodness, passion and ignorance. Mode of goodness, mode of passion and mode of ignorance. Lord Krishna explains what these modes are, how they act upon us, how one transcends them, and the symptoms of one who has attained the transcendental state. So that's what chapter 14 is. And Baladev Buddhabhushan summarizes chapter 14 as: one remains in samsara by combination with the gunas. One becomes liberated by surpassing the gunas. This is attained only by devotion to the Lord. This is the knowledge to be gained from chapter 14. So this is summary quite clear. And chapter 15 I was just reading before. So chapter 15, the name of chapter 15 is the Yoga of the Supreme Person. The Yoga of the Supreme Person. Chapter 15, the summary given by Srila Prabhupada is: the ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to detach oneself from the entanglement of the material world and to understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who understands Krishna's supreme identity surrenders unto him and engages in his devotional service. And Baladev Buddhabhushan summarizes this chapter 14 Purushottam Yoga is: from the 15th chapter, one learns that the person who is different from the conditioned and liberated souls and who supports both and is superior to both. From the 15th chapter, one learns that the person who is different from the conditioned and liberated souls and who supports both and is superior to both is Supreme Lord Krishna. So that's very important. Very important two shlokas from chapter 15, that Krishna says that Yasmat Sharam Atito Ham Aksharadapi Chottama To Asmi Loka Vedecha Prathita Purushottama Yo Mam Evam Asam Mudho Janati Purushottamam Sa Sarva Vidbhajti Mam Sarva Bhavena Bharata. Krishna says in chapter 15, sloka 18 and 19 that I am superior to both fallible and infallible, and thus I am famous in all the Vedas, Puranas, Vedanta, everywhere as the Purushottama. And one who understands me, the Purushottama, the Param Purush, thus without any doubt, he he is in complete knowledge, and he renders loving devotional service unto me with his whole heart. So that's very important, chapter 15. Chapter 16, the divine and the demonic nature. Prabhupada summarizes this. Those who possess demoniac qualities and who live whimsically without following the regulations of scriptures attain lower births and further material bondage. But those who possess divine qualities and live regulated lives abiding by scriptural authority gradually attain spiritual perfection. So that's very important, chapter 16. Chapter 17, the divisions of faith. There are three types of faith corresponding to and evolving from the three modes of material nature. Acts performed by those whose faith is in passion and ignorance yield only impermanent material results, whereas acts performed in goodness in accordance with scriptural injunctions purify the heart and lead to pure faith in Lord Krishna and devotion to him. So chapter 7 says about different faiths in mode of ignorance, mode of passion, and mode of goodness. So that's what Prabhupada summarizes here. And the last chapter, chapter 18, is the conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. The chapter 18 name is conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. Let's see how Prabhupada summarizes this. Prabhupada says, Krishna explains the meaning of renunciation and the effects of the modes of nature on human consciousness and activity. He explains Brahma realization, the glories of the Bhagavad Gita, and the ultimate conclusion of Gita. The highest path of religion is absolute unconditional loving surrender unto Lord Krishna, which frees one from all sins, brings one to complete enlightenment, and enables one to return to Krishna's eternal spiritual abode. So very important. And how Baladev Vidyabhushan summarizes chapter 18. He says, there are many methods, but among them surrender along with attitude of being a servant quickly pleases Krishna. This is the conclusion of 18th chapter. So that's chapter 18 is the conclusion, and that's the end of Bhagavad Gita. Means the Bhagavad Gita completes at chapter 18. And there are very important slokas. Krishna says, that Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavaneschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. I can be only known as it is by pure unalloyed devotional service, and by thus knowing me, my devotee comes back to me. He gets my pure devotion and comes back to me. And Krishna repeats his final instruction, ultimate instruction, that sarva guhyatamam bhuya shrinu me paramam vacha istvasi me dridhamiti tato bhakshyami te hitam. What Krishna told at the end of chapter 9, the same instruction Krishna repeats, and he says that I am saying this for your benefit. And what's that? He says that man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mam evashyasi satyam te pratijano priyasi me. Ki by give your mind and heart to me. Think of me always through your mind and heart. Be my devotee and render loving devotional service unto me. Pay your obeisances unto me, and thus you will come back to me without fail. This is my promise. And then he further says that sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vrajaham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayisami masuchaha. Ki completely surrender to me alone. Fully surrender to me alone. To no one else, but to only me, Krishna. That's the final instruction of Krishna. And one who knows Krishna's personality, one who knows Krishna, he knows that the Krishna is the only person to whom we can surrender lovingly. There is no one else actually. And Krishna also says about Bhagavad Gita at the end of chapter 18 that what he says, that ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhakteshu abhidhasyati bhakti mai param kritva mam evashyati asamsayah na cha tasman manushyeshu kaschin me priyakritamah भविता न चमे तस्माद अन्य प्रियतरो हुई. कि one who explains this, discusses this Bhagavad Gita, the most confidential knowledge among my devotees, he will surely get my pure devotional service, and he will surely come back to me. And there is no one dearer to me than him, and there is no one dearer to me in past, present, and future than him who discusses and preaches Bhagavad Gita among my devotees. So practicing and preaching Bhagavad Gita, the confidential knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, is very dear to Lord Krishna. That's because that's gives the ultimate benefit, ultimate success and victory to any jiva. So that's what Krishna emphasizes about practicing and preaching Bhagavad Gita among the devotees. So thus ends the summary of all the chapters of Bhagavad Gita as given by Srila Prabhupada himself, and some of the chapters I read from Baladev Vidyabhushan's summary. So on the very auspicious occasion of Bhagavad Gita Jayanti, appearance day of Bhagavad Gita, Mokshada Ekadasi, I pray to Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Krishna that we get more and more attached to Bhagavad Gita and more practice and preach Bhagavad Gita in our lives, in our devotional life. Thank you very much. All glories to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna and Dandavat Pranams.